as far as the farmers co-op south of Early, they put no pressure on us. They said they were going to build one way or the other, so
sure.
There's no problem there.
Right. You know, and you know, it may be such a thing. You may want to do a countywide thing. I don't know if you want to do that or not. That's, you know, that's something you guys have to decide if that's.
Did you work with Calhoun County?
No, they're in Midas's area out of Fort Dodge, and they've got in the plan that they had, that Jack had sent, they had identified, and I'm going to guess, and I don't know the area well enough, but it looks to me like they must have identified, it had to do with New Co-op, which doesn't surprise me. New Co-op has asked for a lot of tax abatement, and pretty much everywhere they built anything, New Co-op's asked for tax abatement. That was a very specific.
BV County did a very specific situation there with Sulphur Springs too.
Oh,
and that was a co-op area. I mean, it was Rand's development or something like that. Do you guys remember?
You have to be very careful about being too specific too. You're not really supposed to set up an urban rewrite for one property. You can set it up for a section of ground or whatever, but if you set it up for one parcel of ground, you're looking like you're throwing favoritism on that one property,
which
you're not
nothing to do.
Right.
And people do it all the time. You're right. Shouldn't do it. It's not good policy, but unfortunately it happens all the time.
In fact, in the BV County one, they named it specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Farmville Co-op.
Or Rand's development or something like that.
Sulphur Springs urban rewrite.
We went through this with the co-op at Shaler too, when they were going to build that $1 million co-op out there, and they said either you get tax abatements or some city had to put something in place which they didn't have any.
What?
They put tax abatements for everything.
For what period of time? What schedule did they have?
3-year, 100%.
Yeah, for them. And then they also have housing now too. So
they're also the same ones that tell you that they're going to put in $500,000 worth of property. They tell the council that, so they get their approval, and then as soon as you come in, they come in and say, well, it's not worth that much. Yeah. So yeah, it's $500,000, but we don't want to pay on $500,000. Plus, we want the 3-year abatement. They're kind of notorious for that up there. Farmers Co-op's not too bad, but I guess my input, and that's my job is not to make the decision. My job is to implement whatever how you guys decide. But you're kind of, when you go into an urban rewrite in the country, you're kind of going into competition with the town. You know, if you're going to build in town, they got an urban rewrite like in Earth. Not Farmers Co-op, but something else. And if I can go a quarter of a mile outside the city limits, get the same tax abatement, plus get 30% off of my levy. You know, when you're in the rural area, you're already getting a tax abatement, somewhat and somewhat. Because instead of paying $36 a thousand, you're paying $25. You get 30 to 35% off of your taxes already, which I think is a pretty good break, because that's forever. You know, so the abatement is a good thing if you think it's going to draw somebody away from somewhere else, like away from Calhoun County or BV County. But if you're just drawing it away from Early or Odebo, you're kind of defeating the purpose there.
I think we could probably handle that and make use of a deal.
How would that be?
Well, you know, when you get in the deal, we've got our plan up, and then they need a certain amount of, say they need sewer or water, then do they do their own thing out in the country, or do they try and make a deal with, you know, municipality to...
If they're close enough, you mean? Yeah. Or they might go into annexation.
There's many instances where cities and counties have signed an agreement together, development agreement together to provide infrastructure out to a site, and then it comes back to them through TIP or something like that to pay for that. So there's lots of ways to do a development agreement like that, and I have some examples in the office.
But you wouldn't be able to TIF the rural unless they annexed it in.